Hello and welcome to the Croatian Baggies podcast. And again, this week we're joined by Paul Scharner. Paul, how are you doing?
Yeah, fine, Dave. Thank you very much. Hello to everybody. Best regards from Austria. You see at the background, I'm right next to the sky, actually.
So, Paul, with West Brom's ambition, and behind you it says the sky is not the limit. I'm surprised that doesn't say 17th place and survival is not the limit.
Yes, definitely, Dave. Thank you for the votes actually the last couple of weeks, and also the to appear actually in this kind of communications on Twitter, you know, because I think it's very interesting and also very helpful to get the understanding of the people, of the supporters, you know, what they really are looking for, and what they really want that the club is achieving actually in the future. And you can see, to be honest, the success for the people means how they experienced in their time actually, you know. So if you look on young people, they are happy with staying in the Premier League, to be honest, because they haven't seen anything else or anything better actually. Yeah. If you look on the elder people, you know, they enjoyed the Baggies on the Europe stage, and also got into finals to the cups and winning finals, you know, and that's a big difference. Yeah, what have you experienced actually as a supporter, and what can you think about for the future, you know? And that's why I think it's a very important questions. What strategy can I use, or can we use, to address people, to get them on board, and hope that they want to achieve the same as the club and everybody want, to be honest.
How far do you think West Brom are from re-achieving that, what they did in, say, the 70s, early 80s, under Ron Atkinson, where they were in Europe, they had players like Regis, Robson? How far and how difficult would that be for West Brom to achieve?
To be honest, the main problem is the football business itself, you know, because what you have seen at the vote, and also on the answers, you know, the last couple of weeks is the money. They are not spending enough money, and of course the big clubs, they have more money and all kind of this, but you have seen it today, this week, you have mentioned at the beginning, Dinamo Zagreb. They won 3-0 at home against the Spurs, and got them through to another round, you know, and they're still competing for winning the Croatian league, you know, or maybe they already won the league, you know. So of course, Croatia or the Croatian league is not the Premier League, that's for sure. But I think it is very important for the forthcoming of the club to get more ambitious.
I think that shows what you can achieve when you have belief, and when everyone pulls in the same direction.
Yes, and of course, what I experienced as a player, you know, you as a player, and as a player from a smaller team, you know, you need to get rid of the respect of the better team, you know.
Yeah.
So you need to get, or you need to start to believe, hey, I can win against this better team actually, because we are not weaker than the others.
11 against 11 on the pitch.
Yeah, that's 11 against 11, you know, and it depends, of course, what strategy do you have, and what style of football you play, no?
I mean, we saw from the poll on Twitter from the recent interview we did with you, Paul, that most supporters had that interest in togetherness, ambition and belief. And when you put the one out saying, what is success for supporters, a lot of them had said domestic trophies. But with West Brom at the moment, their focus being just purely survival, how important would a trophy be for a club, for West Brom? Yeah. What would that do to change that mentality?
So I think that could be the next step, you know, to winning a trophy, and getting a flow in being successful, you know, in the country, and then build on and have a look on the long-term strategy, you know. But the main problem in this case is that all the management or all the manager think if I focus too much on the FA Cup, or on the League Cup, I get relegated.
Yeah.
But have a look on this season, you get relegated anyway.
Yeah.
So if you are not concentrating on the cup, on the domestic cups, then yeah, you get relegated too. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
So that's why I think, because you can create the momentum. You need a momentum to change this, to turn around the thinking of all the people who are involved at the club.
Yeah.
And that could be a domestic trophy.
Go on, Dan.
But how important is it to have that strategy implemented and to follow that strategy? Like, I look at Southampton, who I think are perhaps an ideal model club for a club like ourselves. They've recently brought in a director of football, and he's implemented a new strategy and a new model, and that allows them to go in a certain direction.
Yeah, of course, it must come from the management, the strategy, and also the ambitions. So the management or the owner, they have to show where we want to go, So is West Bromwich a club who can win domestic trophies and go further and qualify for Europe? And that is a decision of the management and the communication of the management.
Yeah, which has
because
been
when you agree that we want to be more successful, then you work differently. And the people start thinking differently, and I think that's the main important thing, and the most important thing at the moment, to turn the thinking around from the people who are involved with the club and in love with the club.
How would you approach that situation of changing the mentality of supporters? What could you implement at West Brom to really?
It must come from the persons itself, actually, to be honest. So the technical director, if it's not the owner, then it needs to be the management. They need to sit together and create a new ambition or a strategy.
Yeah. Okay, so when you look at West Brom in the current situation now, relegation looks dead certain. They're not in any sort of domestic trophy, and there doesn't, under the current technical leadership, look to be a plan. But what do you think is the greatest potential of West Brom?
The greatest potential, I think, is, of course, the history and also the playing style they created over decades ago, What we said last time, you can't change the playing style every now and then, Yeah, of course. And now, I think it's always a chance, actually, when you get relegated, to rethink all what we do, and set a new strategy. But it must be, and I think that's the key for the future. It must be a long-term strategy, and of course, what the first question says, how we can address the people, so how we can get them on board, that they support us in any kind of situation, Of course, when you have the right strategy, it doesn't mean that you are from now on successful, Of course, it does mean that you have up and downs, but maybe you can shorten the downs,
Yeah.
I think what needs to happen, we need to establish some principles and DNA. Like, what does it mean to be at West Brom? What does it mean to be West Brom player? And then you have a model to go down.
Yes. And that's what I have in another question. I think the greatest potential of a club is are the people's. Because the human potential never get brought out 100%, because there is lack of communication, there is lack of immigration, you know, let's say the greenkeeper, you know, the greenkeeper is the same as important than a player, you know, because if he's not taking care of the grass, you know, the footballer can't play football.
Yeah.
You know, and as simple as that. So that means any single supporter at home, any single employee at the club is same as important as a player, you know.
Why do you think that West Brom don't currently embrace that? Because you look at a club like Leicester, who we've spoke previously, have that same, well, have a difference in the fact that their owner, before he passed away, built a community around the football club. I heard recently Kasper Schmeichel saying that with the millions that the owner had, he could have been not interested. He could have just delegated.
Yep.
He chose to bring everyone together, and that helped create a belief. So why do you think that's missing at West Brom at the moment?
Yeah, Leicester got lucky with their owner, you know. But West Bromwich maybe not as lucky, but it doesn't matter. Normally, if it doesn't come from the owner, then the management has to introduce that, you know. They have to introduce that we are creating a big community and be together successful in the future, you know.
Yeah.
But nobody is speaking to the supporters or from the management. Nobody is inviting them to, hey, come together and think about what will West Bromwich be, the Albions be in 10, 20 years time, you know.
Yeah.
That's a shame actually in the football business itself, because West Bromwich is not a single case, because you have many examples, especially in the English football, you know, they don't take care about the peoples around the club, you know.
Yeah. And going on to that point about DNA, Dan, under Bilic, it looked like West Brom had found that sort of possession-based DNA. It looked like Bilic brought supporters together. But then there was that contrast with Luke Dowling. Obviously with the Croatian background and having Bilic in charge and seeing that football progressed back to what it was, almost similar to before with West Brom's old philosophy. What got lost with the current technical situation and Bilic?
I just think the club they didn't hold themselves accountable to the plans and strategy that they had in place, and it went wrong and they panicked. Whereas I think it's important to just stand the course and believe in what you set out to achieve in the first place.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, then the panic is the main problem in football, because on the view on the short term success, you know, and that kills the long term development, you know. And if you always get panicked after 3 months, then you never create something big actually.
Well,
and
that brings me on to the point.
But that's for me, that's leadership, you know.
Yeah.
You need to stay calm in pressure situations, you know, in difficult situations. You need to keep your eyes on your lighthouse, you know, on your big vision, and say, okay, yeah, we are in troubles now, right now, but you see that the background, the fog is appearing sometimes, you know. If you work really hard, then maybe it disappears a bit earlier than we think, you know.
That's the thing that disappointed me most with the sacking of Bilic, because I think he was the first manager in a long time that has done what he said previously, in terms of he brought all the people together, and there was a great sense of belief. Whereas now I think it's just fragmented into different sections again.
Yes. And I think that's the biggest challenge in a club, you know. But I think, and that's what I experienced as a player, that's mainly the lack of communication in the club, in the management with the players, you know. Nobody knows where the club want to go, you know, actually.
That brings me on to the point, Paul. The reason I brought Bilic is because, to you, how important is faith and conviction in the management?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key point when you are a leader, you know, and when you're in the management, you need faith and conviction actually. You need to set the ambition, you need to set the mentality, the mindset. You need to be the role model, you know,
Yeah.
Everybody needs to look up to you and say, yeah, okay, he shows us the way and we want to follow because we want to get successful.
Yeah. And does that stem from the hierarchy? How would you build and process that?
Yeah, of course, that's why we have hierarchies, you know.
Yeah.
You have higher hierarchies that you can follow.
Yeah.
Is lower hierarchy actually, and but you can see it all over Europe and also especially in Austria. Leadership, you have absolutely lack in leadership, to be honest, because nobody wants to take responsibility when something is going wrong, you know.
Do you think that West Brom are lacking that leadership still?
I think because otherwise you wouldn't be in this situation, you know.
Yeah.
Because of course, what we said before, you have, of course, in a development, you have up and downs, and you need to stay strong in the downs, you know.
Yeah. And does that spill into recruitment, or does that into
that's too particular actually. I think it's the
whole picture.
The whole picture. That's the start of a successful period actually.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose my background today, that it says the sky is not the limit.
Yeah.
But you need the only limit is there
mentally.
Yeah, is your own thinking. And if you start get your limits, then yeah, you're struggling. Okay.
Looking towards next season with West Brom,
mm-hmm.
Do you think the plan should be automatic promotion?
It depends. Maybe it's not the best, not the best situation, or not the best case at the moment. You need to create a long-term strategy now, and it doesn't matter if you get promoted again right up to the following season, or in the next 3 years, or in the next 5 years, because then actually when you get promoted next time, then we stay in the league, then we develop in the league, and we get successful in the league, you know. So that means you need to start now to create a successful period for the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
It sounds strange in this situation of Corona crisis, but that's the difference between really successful people and clubs actually, and not so successful.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I was reading about this Southampton, how they brought in this new director of football, and the first thing he done on day one of his job, he put down a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
And so that was looking long term. It wasn't let's get 40 points this season. It was 5-year plan. What can we do going forward? Yeah,
definitely, because when I experienced the same what you mentioned, the 40 points success plan actually. Yeah. But what's happened when you reach the 40 points in January? Are you stopping playing football or what?
Yeah. Lose half the season
and enjoying life. No, I'm my main focus is on lifestyle now.
Yeah.
But it's many questions are still to answer.
I think a problem we've had, we've just chased these short-term goals all the time.
Yes.
And then it's just getting us nowhere. It's kind of one step forward, one step back, and we haven't moved it.
The main problem is because when you're not reaching the short-term targets, you know, then you are
lost at sea.
driving crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So then you run around like a chicken without
a head.
Its head, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the main problem. You need your anchor up front, you know. Anchor. It says, in 10 years we are there, and we keep the direction. Of course, we need to go sometimes left, right, or you need something else, you know. But we know we want to go there, actually.
Yeah.